Hi everyone, I'm Cassie, and today I will be telling you about the interesting occurrences that happened in December 1998 when I was born. And in fact, it was quite a snowy day when I was born, and my family had actually had to venture out into the cold blizzard that was going on at the time. So I suppose that was dangerous, and however, it makes a good story for everyone. I will be talking about the popular films at the time, current events that were happening, popular science innovations, and the popular music at the time. So my first main point is the popular films, and one of the films that I remember most was Jack Frost, and due to the Christmas season, that was very popular, and it was actually released in December of 1998. So that was a nice Christmas family-friendly movie. And basically this movie is about two children who build a snowman together in the middle of winter, and throughout the movie the snowman comes to life with the magic of Christmas. However, as the season goes on and it gets warmer, he starts to melt away, and I think that's actually a very sad ending for a children's movie. Another popular movie was Saving Private Ryan, which is a war action flick if you're into that, and it was very popular due to the events going on between the US and Iraq at the time, but I'll get into that later. Another popular movie was A Bug's Life, and it was an animated kids movie, and it was basically about everything in the day of a bug's life, so it's basically what it sounds like, surprisingly. Some current events that occurred in December 1998 was the bombing of Iraq by the US, and at the time the Clinton administration of Bill Clinton was in office, and the initial reason that the US gives that we bombed Iraq was because that Saddam Hussein wasn't cooperating with the UN in the weapon policies. However, I did read an article while I was researching the topic that it could have been to divert attention away from the Monica Lewinsky scandal, which was also happening at the time. So that was another event that was going on at the time, and I think that the US was trying to divert away from that situation. It's very likely that they were trying to do that because that's what we always try to do, I think. Another tragic event that happened was the Tadhena massacre in Algeria, and this resulted in 42 people dying, and it was perpetrated by the Islamic State and Al-Qaeda, and the methods were so brutal that I cannot even mention how the massacre was carried out. Another thing that happened was the STS-88 launch, which was the first space shuttle to be launched to the International Space Station, so I found that very interesting. And plus, the Unity node, which was the first American module, was also launched to the International Space Station in 1998 of December. In the year of science, around the time in December in 1998, the embryo cloning became accepted widely by the UK actually, because prior to the time, the UK was very against embryo cloning, thinking that it would harm people. However, they found that it would be very good for medical advancements and stuff like that. And in fact, South Korea was the first country to actually experiment with embryo cloning, and they claim to have been the first ones to actually clone an embryo. Like, they got to the point of actually duplicating the cells and everything of a fertile woman so that it would be an identical twin. However, they stopped the experiment for some reason, and it was not explained in the article, so I found that interesting yet a little suspicious to me. Another thing that happened was the database of DNA was proposed, and basically what happened was there was a police officer in New York at the time, and he was thinking that if we had everyone's DNA in a database, it'd be easier to catch every criminal that were to commit a crime. And it's actually quite a creepy idea, but it's actually still going on today. And it's suggested by the government and other authorities that every child born has their DNA taken from birth, so they were able to track them throughout their lives. Another big technology thing that happened was called print to home, and that was by the Hewlett Packard and the Hewlett Packard company. And basically what this was, it was a software that would allow you to print certain pages, like certain news articles, right to your computer instead of having to get them delivered by a paperboy. So the magazines that were involved in this was the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Marvel Comics, and all of this was actually free. So that was quite an interesting thing at the time. I know the technology today seems like it's so far advanced that this wouldn't even matter to us at the current year, but it's quite an achievement if you look back in the days where technology wasn't so developed. And the popular music in 1998 of December was Baby One More Time by Britney Spears, Truly Madly Deeply by Savage Garden, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith, and actually I remember at the time my mom said that she was singing I'm Coming Home by Ozzy Osbourne while I was in the hospital, so that was quite an interesting fact she shared with me. So those were just some interesting events, although some negative. However, in every situation there's always negative things. And the popular films, those are just some of the popular films, current events that occurred, science innovations, and popular music at the time. And I hope you all enjoyed. Here is my audience. Say hello, everyone.
Yeah.
I hope you all